Well, I think I am live. I'm just going to check that the stream is running okay. Yep, and I am. Right, guys, who do we have in? Rasta, nice to see you in. Julie, Gleam, Ian Adams, hello. Unusual Veracity, good evening to you all. Now, wow, what a day I've had. Hi, you. Nice to see you in as well. Oh, man. Where do you start? Dan W, hello. Truth Seeker, nice to see you in. I mean, literally, where do you start? I mean, my head. Ian, nice to see you in. And Gleam, again, nice to see you in. Now, I've heard the Mandela effect spoken about before, and I've never really looked into it. I've never considered looking into it because essentially it's just another thing that I didn't need to look at, really. Flat Earth for me was enough, and it still obviously is. And you know me, I'm a bit stuck in my ways with stuff. I'm very technophobe as such. I don't like to a lot of change to happen at one time. So I tend to focus on one thing, which is optics in this case when I'm looking at my flat Earth journey so far. So when it comes to talking about the Mandela effect, I'm a little out of my comfort zone, but I get the what they're trying to say, because I watched a couple of videos today and everything that they said, how do you remember this, or how do you remember that? And I was like, yeah, that happened. And then they say, no, that didn't happen. And you're like, what do you mean it didn't happen like that? Yes, it did. And then the next question comes up and they say, oh, and do you remember this? And you go, yeah, of course I remember that. And then you find out actually it didn't happen like that. And I mean, my head is where don't know where to really start with all this, but I've got a few slides ready to discuss, and I want to see what you guys think. So if you give me a second, I'm going to share my screens, and hopefully we can work this out together, because I need answers. I genuinely need answers, and I need to know whether other people remember seeing things the same as I did. Just right. So here we go. Right, John Watson. Nice to see you in. All right, it's just a memory test. Well, believe you me, I seem to remember it completely different. Flatlander, nice to see you in. Ratio perfect. Good evening, everybody. Right, I'm gonna hide that, and here we go. I've got a few slides up. So, anyone remember the Karate Kid? Because I remember the Karate Kid growing up, and where to start? I must have seen this film 100 times. So I've seen the film 100 times, and I know it back to front. And the reason I know it back to front is because I used to do Taekwondo as a child. And from the age of about 5 to 17, I was doing Taekwondo twice a week. And I got pretty good at it. And at the time, we had The Karate Kid that was out. And it was one of my favorite films. Absolutely loved it. And I remember specifically the color of the bandana that, Daniel wore. I remember it implicitly. It's ingrained in my brain. I remember the colors. So, guys, which color do you think it is? Now, I assume that there's probably going to be a few people that have seen this already and probably already know what the correct answer is. But I'm just out of curiosity, which ones would you say is the color? The black one or the red one? So I'm going to go and have a look. Right, here we go. Right. So we've got Julie Bennett, who reckons it's the red. Flatlander, the red. Forstall, Laporte, the red. Ian Adams, the red. Truth Seeker, the red. Josh Merrigan, the red. Black and white. Shane Walter, he's watched it 100 times. Well, what colour? You say it's red. Right. What would I do? What would you do if I told you that it was the black? What would you do if I told you that it was, in fact, the black one? So just to, I mocked this image up here. I mocked this one up on the right because obviously we don't have that anymore. But I remember Mr. Miyagi putting it on him and it looking like this. I remember him going behind him and putting it around his head. And I remember this, I remember the red sun rising. I remember it. Not this black thing that's now in our reality for whatever reason. I remember it as this. That's how I remember it. And it seems that a lot of you guys do too. Now, yeah, I mean, yeah. So that kind of threw me this morning when I saw that. Straight away. I knew the answer when he said which one is it? Is it this one? I knew it was the red one. I knew it was the red sunrise, and it wasn't an issue for me. It was already ingrained there. I knew it. Knew it. Didn't need to be second guessed it, but to be then informed that it was the black one, and that everything you check now shows it being the black one. I mean, that isn't how I remember it. Okay, it isn't. Next one. You guys have all seen Moonraker, I'm sure. Well, probably most of you have seen Moonraker, James Bond. And we have the girl called Dolly. So at the end of the movie, Jaws, who obviously has these metal teeth, he falls in love with Dolly. And they connect over something. They connect. They look at each other. They've had a bit of a moment together. And he then smiles at her in his best kind of smile, revealing his teeth. And then she smiles back and reveals her teeth. Now, this is what they say it was and the connection. Whereas I remember Dolly had braces. I remember she had braces, and I've put these braces in for effect, for comedy effects, because it was a comedy thing for me. And I remember her with braces. I don't remember her with no braces. It wouldn't have been the same. It didn't make any sense. Guys, do you remember with braces? I remember her with braces. Yeah, she did. That was the joke. You're right, you. She did. Everyone remembers that she has braces, and apparently, no, she doesn't. She never had braces. And I mean, that's another one that blew my mind. I mean, the funny thing is, I phoned my old man up this morning, and I put it to him like this. I said, "Do you remember Moonraker?" And he thought about it for a minute. He went, "Oh, the James Bond film." I said, "Yeah." I says, "Do you remember the big guy, the villain, Jaws with the metal teeth?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Do you remember him falling in love with someone?" He says, "Yeah, the girl with braces." So before I even got to ask him, did you know that she didn't have braces? Before I even got to get that question, he responded to me down the phone, "Yes, I remember the girl. She had braces." It was like it was already in his brain that she already had braces. And I didn't even need to ask the question. And I was like, well, that was the question I was going to ask. Did she have braces or not? And he says, yeah, of course she had braces. I said, well, no, she didn't, apparently. Oh, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I might be late to the Mandela effect, correct? I might well be late to the Mandela effect. But I want to talk about it, guys. I want to see if I'm just going nuts on myself, on my own here. Now, Rasta seems to think something different. His first comment was a little bit negative in regards to this particular one, which was from Scary Movie. And if you remember this guy, he's talking to his friend and he says two lines. Well, there's two lines that are in question. Two lines in question are, does he say, "I see dead people," or he sees white people? So I see white people or I see dead people. And it was funny. I remember it. And I spoke to Nathan about this morning. And I asked him, I said to him, what was the, quote that he says? And he says, oh, it was "I see white people." Yeah, I remember that. I said, no, it wasn't. Apparently it was "I see dead people." And it freaked him out because he's an anti-Mandela effect person. So, and it's not just, it's not just me that says this. I mean, if we go to where are we? I see white people. So over here, this is some guy that put a video up just asking, did anybody remember it as I see white people or I see dead people? And 100% I see it was white people with 69 upvotes. 100% white people, white people, white people, white people, white people, white people, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's saying that they remember it as white people. Nathan said he remembers it as white people. I remember it as white people. But no, it was I see dead people. What the? And the thing is, like, it's iconic parts of the movies that these things are happening with. I mean, what can you say? I mean, Mr. Miyagi and Daniel. I mean, the bandana was an integral part of the movie. It was part of his family. It had been handed down through his generation. It was a mark of his house, kind of thing. I remember it, and it was important part of the movie. Same with the only thing that was funny out of well, not the only thing that was funny, but one of the funniest parts of that particular clip was I see white people, and people started saying I see white people. But there's a lot of people here that say dead. So I mean, like I said, it's contentious, this one. I remember it as white people, but I just want to talk about it because it's driving me nuts. The Mona Lisa. No, this is a great one. The Mona Lisa. Now, about 10 years ago, or maybe less than that, actually, I watched a documentary, and it said it was all about trying to discover who she was. So they went into great detail about trying to find out who she might have been related to. Was it a male? Was it a female? Obviously, in my opinion, it's a female. But they didn't know who she was, etc., etc. There's a big documentary about it, and it's always been known, as far as I can recall anyway, that nobody knew her true identity. Does everyone agree with that statement, broadly? How many times did you see the real movie? That's probably one. It takes about 8 times repeat. Long term. Yes, what? Mary Magdalene. What? Yes, I see lots of yes. Yes, what? Yes, that you think that they don't know who she was. I always remember it as, nobody knows who she was. It's a fact that, it was like nobody knew who she was. Oh, right. Okay. So it was a mystery. Yes. Thanks. Yeah. So we're clearing it up a little bit. So, yeah, it was a mystery, right? No. Apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently it's been well known who she is. Also known as La Gioconda, the wife of Francesco del Gioconda. That's who this lady was. And apparently been known for quite some time who she was. Now, that's kind of freaky because I don't recall anybody knowing who she was. And okay, was it mirror, mirror on the wall? Or was it magic mirror on the wall? Guys, this one freaked even my mum out because we always recall it as being mirror, mirror on the wall. In fact, everybody I've spoken to about this today, which is probably around about 15 people, have all said it was mirror, mirror on the wall, when actually it was magic mirror on the wall. I mean, what the, what the, what the, I'm losing my mind here. I am literally losing my mind. How is this shit going down? How is this possible? How is it even possible that for all eternity it's always been magic mirror on the wall, and yet every single person seems to recall it as mirror, mirror on the wall? I mean, have I got any more? Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam. Right, you've all seen the images of Uncle Sam, and he's always got fucking stripes on his head, right? So on his hat always has stripes on it. Yeah, hang on, so get some stripes going down here and show you what I mean. He always has fucking stripes like this. It was what he's known for. If you think of the Rocky film, for instance, and he's jumping around, he has a hat like this. Well, this was an original image of the Uncle Sam. Well, he didn't have stripes on his hat. So how come everybody thinks he has stripes on his hat? I mean, I'm not American, so I'm not. I don't know how you know this can escape the notice of the Americans that we might have watching. Just yeah, here we go. Uncle Sam. I've got some images up. Yeah, this is the typical. If I just click that there, this is Uncle Sam. They've all got the red stripes on the hat. You know, this is how they show it. This is how they show it. Here's another guy making a bit of fun out of it with the red stripes going down. But no, that's not the case. That's not it. Here's another image. Red stripes going down. But no, apparently, the only time that it was the very first image, the original one, didn't have stripes down. But yeah, everybody after that always recalls him having stripes down. And then, it's been put into the consciousness of the Americans to incorporate this stripe. And yet that isn't the case. And who else have we got? The Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. You might have heard me talking about it today on Nathan's. I mentioned it briefly, but it was like you all recall The Wizard of Oz, right? And what was the main thing about the Scarecrow? The Scarecrow was what? I have no idea. No gun. There's no gun in the wizard, buddy. Well, that's the thing. There was a frigging gun. There was a gun in the Wizard of Oz. The Scarecrow was loaded up with a gun and he was brandishing it around. I mean, what? He didn't have a brain. No, but he had a gun. Um, um, Scarecrow has a gun. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this one here. I mean, what the? Does anybody else remember him having a gun in The Wizard of Oz? Here's another one with him holding the gun. That's just crazy. And yet, nobody recalls him having a gun ever. Where's the what was that? The Statue of Liberty. Yes, the Statue of Liberty. That's supposed to be on, is it Ellis Island? But everyone seems to remember it being on Liberty Island. They have it in their head. It was Liberty Island. I think that's the right way around. And yet, no, it's on Ellis Island. How can people not know this or get confused over this? How can millions of people think something that is the opposite? It's like Teen Wolf, yeah? So imagine if somebody said to you, oh, Tom Cruise played the lead part in Teen Wolf. You'd be like, what? Not Michael J. Fox? No, no. No, it's Tom Cruise. And then when you watch a film, Tom Cruise is playing Teen Wolf. How freaked out would you be? I mean, it feels like this is where I am today. It feels like all this stuff. I mean, Mr. Miyagi stuff. I mean, this just blow. I mean, this is for me the one because he did have this red bandana and the red rising sun. This is what he had. I must have seen the film 100 times. It was the only film I had as a kid on VHS, and I watched it like 100 times. Played it out over and over and over. I always wanted to be Karate Kid, and I remember him having this sigil on his bandana, clear as day. He didn't have this. He did not have that. That's wrong. That never happened. So when I looked at this Mandela effect video today, and they asked which one did he wear, it was obvious. It was this one, without a shadow of a doubt. I didn't even need to think about it. And yet, when he told that no, this is the reality, that isn't the reality. That isn't how I recall it. It definitely wasn't this. This is wrong. That isn't right. This is right. This is right here. But it's not. I'm a little freaked out. Rancy, did you see the Forrest Gump Mandela effect? Can you remind me about that? I think I saw it, but it doesn't stick out 100% in my head as much as this. Yeah, that it was a tacky drawing. Shane, I'm not an artist, mate. I'm not an artist. But I'm just trying to show you roughly what it looked like, and I'm telling you now, it was the red bloody bandana. Yeah, it's like if they turned around and said, like, life was like no, it was life is like a box of chocolates. Life is like a box of chocolates. Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. Apparently, the official line is now life was like a box of chocolates. No, it. Oh my God, that's oh no, that's gonna freak me out. I must have seen that film 50 times. Forrest Gump. I love that film. And he says life is like a box of chocolates. He doesn't say life was like a box of chocolates. What the hell? He says life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. That doesn't. I mean, how does it even make sense? Life was like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get, as in forward tense, like in the present to future. So you can't be talking about the past, talk about the future. Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That makes no freaking sense. Whereas life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That makes sense. And it was. Life is like a box of chocolates. Right? So it certainly wasn't life was what we, I mean, what the hell? Everyone remembers it as life is like a box of chocolates. It is. Life is like a box of chocolates. It's not life was like a box of. I mean, what? I am seriously freaked out right now. And yeah, this is just another one. I recall her having braces. That was the butt of the joke. The butt of the joke was he smiled with his teeth, and the bond. It was like she didn't really. It's like they fell in love within 15 seconds towards the end of the film. It's like they just bonded in a moment. That's how they got together. They bonded in a moment. And the reason they bonded was because he obviously has issues with his silver teeth, and she'd never fucking spoken before. Or he'd never seen her open her mouth before in the entire film, right? The whole butt of this film was that she kept her mouth shut, right? And he smiles at her, And then she smiles back at him and she shows off these big gnashers with metal. There was metal in her mouth. It was thick braces from there to there. That's what it would have looked like. But no, we're told that she never had braces. Dolly did have braces. I remember it. I recall it. Dolly had braces. We didn't. That's how they got together, for the crying out loud. That's what made that's what made it so funny, and why they actually got together. They wouldn't have got together any other reason, and she wouldn't have opened her mouth at that time, showing her gnashes off and her teeth, right, with braces on, sort of like, and it was like a sweet moment. That's how they got together, for crying out loud. I remember it. Everybody remembers it. Oh, and there's another one, Sex in the City. Yeah, fuck, yeah, Sex and the City. I mean, what? How I always remember it as Sex in the City. I'm seriously weirded out right now, and I'm probably not going to cover this topic again. So, because ultimately, I don't know where this rabbit hole leads. I don't know what it means. I don't know how it works in with flat Earth, and I really, my mind just doesn't want to go down this route right now, because I've got enough that I want to do this week and this year on flat Earth without having to think about this stuff. Because if I do that, I'll get sidetracked and I'll literally go down another well, and then flat Earth will go to the side. I mean, maybe I'll end up going down this route at some point, but not right now. Not right now. Thank you, Nathan, for the super chat. £1.99. Such a star. Okay, Ranty, I thought he was on about Dolly Daydream at first. Hey, Martin. Oh, Martin. I assume you have probably looked at the Mandela effect. Honestly, I would assume a well-read guy like yourself has done that. But I have to ask, mate, did you ever watch The Karate Kid growing up? Because I recall the Karate Kid, and he didn't have this bandana on the left ear. He didn't have that. He had this on the right. Right. That's what I remember. This is the real. This is how I remember the bandana being. The rising sun with a red. But no, we're told that this is, and if you check any DVD and video and anything anything now, it's always in wearing this. I watched the film about 100 times and he wore this. I remember it. Like I say, I'm weirded out right now. Right, Tiananmen Square. It's kind of weird, because there's a lot of people that say that he got run over. Some people say he got jumped on the tank, and for me, I always recall it as they never showed anything other than him stopping the tank, standing in front of it, and I saw where the tank came to a halt, kind of thing. So I didn't actually. I can't say one way or the other. What actually happened. I think I was too young at the time. Well, not too young or whatever, but I wasn't interested enough. But ultimately, that's how I recall it. Oh, crikey, yeah. Right, hang on. Let me try and find this. Hang on. Oh, what's he called? Wilkington grenade. Oh, was it? Where is it? Hang on. Here we go. Right. Here we go. Does anybody remember this? Does anybody remember this? Right? I do not remember this. You guys might remember it. Maybe we're just living in some kind of weird timeline or something, but I don't remember this. This dude, this Vladimir Arutinian or something, a Georgian national who attempted to assassinate the United States President George W. Bush and the Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili by throwing a hand grenade at them on the 10th of May 2005. The attempt failed when the grenade did not detonate. He was later arrested and sentenced to life in prison. Does anybody recall that? Does anybody remember that being in any way, shape, or form spread all over the news or anything? Does anybody? I don't remember it. I genuinely, you would think something like that, that it would be super uh, well known. Like everybody would know it. It's the president of the United States, and they're throwing a hand grenade at him. It would be everywhere. It would be everywhere. How come I don't know this shit? Okay, there's a few people in chat that also don't remember it. Yeah, there's a few people in chat that don't remember it. And yes, Julie, you're right. It should have been all over the place, all over the place. Right, Ian, you say it was primetime news. Okay, Ian. Oh, you don't know. Right, sorry. So you say yes, it should be primetime news. Yes, it should be. The guy was trying to assassinate the president of the United States, and was it who else? Who was the other guy? Who was the other guy? The Georgian president as well. So he actually threw a hand grenade at them. A hand grenade, and it only failed because it didn't detonate. What the? And and I don't know this. You don't. Nobody knows about the what the. Honestly, I'm beyond. It's weird how some of us can remember it, and some of us can't. But yet, something that was as massive as that, especially people that being in this kind of community that are aware to all this kind of stuff, should be or should have at least had some kind of knowledge of that in the past. Somewhere you'd have thought that it would have been mentioned, not just on the same day that it happened, but the following day, the next week, 2 weeks later, a month later. You would think that it would be covered probably throughout the entire year, because it would be something at the end of the year. What happened this year? Oh, the president was almost assassinated with when he threw a hand grenade. I mean, you would think that we would have heard it. You would have thought we would have known about it. Something would have, yeah. But that's the thing, Martin. What's really weird is that, yeah, you totally remember it, but I don't. And a lot of people in the chat don't either, which is, is kind of weird. It's like, are we sort of? I don't even want to speculate, but is it? Well, I can speculate because I'm probably only going to talk about this one time on this stream. Is it possible that there are alternate timelines that some people are going through and some people are, and then they're getting merged back in, and then they're losing stuff and they're gaining stuff, and some people are remembering things and other people's aren't? That's a possibility. I don't know what that leaves for the flat Earth. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just speculating right now. I've had a bit of a mind fuck today. It's just been the one day that I've looked into this, and I am seeing a lot of stuff that I don't recall. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I remember differently, a huge amount of stuff that I see differently, not just minor things. It's like, imagine if somebody said to you one day, "Oh, the scene with Titanic when they hold their arms out at the front of the boat." Imagine if you watch the movie and that never happened. Imagine if it never ever happened, but you remember it happening. You're so sure that it happened, and then when you check the posters and stuff, that is no longer the iconic image, and the video never shows that. And any time that you look back on any video in the past, it never shows it. And this is how I'm feeling that things. This is what I'm. I mean, come on. She had teeth. Damn it, she had teeth like this with metal teeth. I know she did. I also remember it as Mirror Mirror on the Wall, not Magic Mirror on the Wall. And everybody I've spoken to remembers it as Mirror Mirror on the Wall. Most people, when I asked them about this, and agreed that it was the red one. A couple said the black, but they may have seen it on Mandela before. But I recall it because I watched the movie about 100 times, and also Chucky had a bandana from this film, and he was adamant when I talked to him earlier about it that it was the red one. He asked his wife, and even his wife was like, "Yeah, it was the red one." And but that bandana is lost now to history. Nobody knows where it's gone. But everyone's adamant it was the red rising sun, but no, it was this, and that isn't how I remember things. It's just, yeah, yeah. The thing is, I'm not going to go down the multiverse route right now because I think there's enough on the flat Earth to be cracking on with without having to, I don't need to investigate anything other than the levelness of water right now. That's where I'm at because water lies, in my opinion, flat. And yeah, C3PO got a silver leg. Did he? No, it was always gold. It was always gold. Gold throughout. The whole thing was always gold. My mate used to collect all those, as soon as they came out, his parents always bought him everything. And I was always around at his house, obviously, because we couldn't afford anything like that. So I was always playing with his stuff. And it was always silver, always gold. And yeah. So yeah, like I say, I mean, my journey is basically just showing how water is level and discussing the horizon. But I thought it was interesting to talk about this because what do you mean check out the 18 van? Come on. Right. Shandy Flat Earth. I think that's a bit of a troll account, but I will, just for you, check out the 18 van. Right. Even though I think you are a troll. Mandela effect 18 van. Right, okay, let's see this. Right, let's see. Right, I swear I remember it black with a red line. Yeah, yeah, I remember it black with a red line too. Right, let's see. Right. This is about the 18 van. I swear I remember it all black with red line. A couple of years ago, I got the whole 5 seasons, started to watch them again. Last month, I was watching it again and noticed the colours of the van changed. I felt really odd, but kept it in the back of my head. When I learned about this, anybody remember it being all black? So is that what it is now? It's supposed to be all black. I kind of somewhat recall it having a red stripe, but I wouldn't be as confident on that as I would about the things that I've shown you today. So it's a good talking point though, because if anybody else sees it as all black. Right, hang on. Hang on. Wait. Just trying to catch up with the chat here. Right, okay. It's the grey bit at the top of the van. Okay, all black. Right, yeah, it just seems like everything's changing. So yeah, if anybody else wants to put a few extra comments in right now, because I'm going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes, and it'd be really cool if you could just give me a few little things to just finish off the day with. Then I can put it all to bed and hopefully never speak about this again. And, oh, but I mean, I mean, let other people research that because for me, I'm just blown away with all this stuff. I literally am. Even the Mona Lisa, nobody knows who she is, but apparently we do. What the? Right, Chucky, the 18 van was definitely not all black. I can agree with that. Uh, Someone thinks it's quantum mechanics. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing, Julie. It is a major mind melt. I mean, literally, I'm freaking out today just after one day of this, and I don't really want to go down, go down that line. Uh, it's a road that it's not something I can touch and feel and show you now. Because let's supposing I take a photograph. Let's supposing I get married tomorrow, and my partner has blonde hair, and then I look back in a couple of years. Well, I'm with her in a couple of years' time, and she has black hair, and she tells me she's always had black hair. And then I think, no, that's not the case. And then I look at the images from tomorrow, looking back at them, and she has black hair. I'd be like, so anything that it's all to do with the mind, because everything that you recall it being, even if you've taken an image of something, it's changed. So if you recall your wife having, like, say, red hair in 2002, and you've got an image of that, and then you go to 2002, check the images, and it turns out she has black hair, and you're like, what happened to your red hair? And she says, no, I've always had black hair. And you'd be like, no, wait, I remember you with red. It can drive you insane because you recall it, but you've got no proof of it. And then when you do look at images, they don't show it how you recall it. So you can literally go mental thinking about this. Um, right. Crazy stuff indeed, Constance. It sure is. How do you think we record memories? Some kind of electrical impulses, I would have thought. Something stored that way. Yeah, so wow, what can I say? It's just been an interesting stream. And I just wanted to talk about it and see if you guys. I mean, it was quite an interesting thing actually. A lot of you guys agreed that the bandana should be red. So yeah, who said that? Right, Gleam. So yeah, so if we do live in an electric universe, it's possible that these electric. Oh, and by the way, listen, what's Martin leaked it. I bought a couple of books whilst I was in Scotland. Have some very interesting images in. I think you'll be very interested to have a look at them. I might take a few images of them. If you jump on Skype, I'll get in touch with you in about half an hour and I'll share the images with you. So yeah, what we're talking about, yeah, the electric universe. So yeah, so if we do have electric charges going around and stuff, and it is some kind of, like, I don't know, just a higher charge, a higher frequency at certain times, I suppose it can mess with your brain. Right. So yeah. Anyway, guys. So thanks very much. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Uh, and yeah, I'm glad I've got this off my chest. Back to flat Earth. This is just gonna, yeah. This could drive me insane, and I don't want to end up nuts right now. Right. Oh, you're not a troll, so I do apologize. Then you're not a troll. I look forward to seeing your. Yeah, let's go to your channel. Actually, you bought a right. So go to channel. So here we go. So I'm gonna subscribe to you. There you go. That's no hard feelings. I look forward to your releases of videos, and I'll see you all guys in the next one, I suppose. As for now, peace, and I'll see you all again very soon.